A week before last Christmas, we appear at a hearing that does not go well. As I leave the hearing, I get on the phone to debrief what had just happened. And I complain, all while offering few solutions. The person on the other end of the line just listens. They listen patiently without interrupting. And when I'm done ranting, the person says, "You might use this experience to help you advocate for people in different parts of the state." And before we hang up, they say, "Thank you so much for fighting for me." This is peak Sandra Turner. She saw what happened in court that day because she was zoomed in from a transitional center. But in this moment, she showed far more grace than I could muster, and she gifted me with her gratitude, even though things had not gone well. It's a moment I will never forget because it embodies so much of who Ms. Turner is and what she means to the people around her. Ms. Turner is an accomplished educator who taught for many years in Metro Atlanta schools until her life took a turn due to a substance use disorder. Her illness led to her incarceration in 2020 during the peak pandemic period when she was expecting her first child. Months later, she gave birth to a daughter, went through the terror of having her daughter taken away from her and then being sent to Lee Arundel State Prison, where women in postpartum were often placed in solitary, shackled wherever they went, and deprived of new clothing to replace the gowns that they gave birth in. Ms. Turner spoke out about her treatment, and that led to a sea change in how new mothers were treated at that prison. But the trauma of being in prison was later compounded by her toddler's diagnosis with a rare brain cancer. And the fact that she was then bounced from foster placement to foster placement only deepened the wounds. But Ms. Turner is a fighter, and she fought to be reunited with her daughter, doing everything in her power to convince the parole board and the courts what was so painfully obvious to everyone who knew her, that she was ready to return home and be the mother that her daughter needed. Her stellar institutional record led to her being placed in a transitional center where she was trusted with leaving and coming to go to work across the Metro Atlanta area every day. And after working long hours in the community, Ms. Turner would come back to the transitional center and serve as a GED instructor for women in the center who were pursuing their education. And Ms. Turner's resolve to serve her community and rebuild her family has not waned since her release in February. She works full-time, she spends as much time as possible with her young daughter, and she extends grace to everyone in the same way that she extended grace to me that day after court. I'm so grateful that she took time out of her busy schedule to be with us tonight. So please join me in congratulating and welcoming to the stage Ms. Sandra Turner.